This meeting of the Brooklyn City Council to order.
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Katie Gallagher.
Here.
Tony DeMarco.
Here.
Ron Van Kirk.
Here.
Kathy Pucci.
Here.
Mary Belbeer.
Here.
Kevin Tansky.
He is absent tonight and excused. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, we need to approve some minutes from December 23rd. Need to a motion to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
To approve the minutes of December 23rd, Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Abstain.
Need a motion to approve the minutes from January 6th.
Move to approve. Second.
To approve the minutes of January 6th, Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Yes.
I need a motion to approve the minutes from January 13th.
Move to approve. Second.
To approve the minutes of January 13th, Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Yes.
Thank you.
We will now proceed with our council meeting. Council met after the last council meeting to discuss the council vacancy. We were unable to come to a decision, so tomorrow, January 27th at 7 p.m., there will be a special council meeting. Council will adjourn to executive session to finalize this decision. If a decision is reached, council will announce the choice tomorrow night. If council is unable to reach a consensus of the majority, then the decision will be turned over to the mayor on Thursday in accordance with the city's charter. At this time, we will hold our public session. If there's anyone in the audience that has anything to say for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn, please step forward, state your name and address, including your city, and you will be recognized. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Okay. We'll move on to committees, commissions, and boards reports. First, we will start off with our Finance Committee Chair, Mrs. Pucci.
Thank you. Good evening. The Finance Committee met this evening at 6:30 and addressed the following items. Ordinance 2013-76, which was up for third reading this evening. This relates to the compensation of the full-time administrative employees. This would restore the 5% ceiling that was lowered on the range back in 2012. The committee has recommended that council hold off on this until we address it in the budget process. Ordinance 2013-77 is a companion ordinance that addresses restoring the 5% for the Economic Development Director, and the Finance Committee also recommended to hold off until the budget process. Ordinance 2014-4, this has to do with amending the Community Reinvestment Area Tax Agreement with Cleveland Tech Solutions. This is the Loving Cup Daycare, and they had previously been afforded a Community Reinvestment Area abatement. However, once they completely renovated all their the facility, they did not increase the actual value of the property and the building. So therefore, they were not able to take advantage of the tax abatement. So we had two things in this. One is they do plan on building an addition to the facility with an approximate value of $350,000. And secondly, they have changed their name to 4476 Ridge Road Holdings, LLC. So we recommended that go on first reading this evening. 2014-5 is a companion ordinance. This is for the job creation agreement for Loving Cup Daycare, and this is just a name change to the real estate holding company. Ordinance 2014-6, we recommended that we put on first reading this evening. This is the health insurance coverage for the positions of the part-time law director, prosecutor, and magistrate. For 2013, when our full-time employees were contributing 6.9% of the healthcare premiums, council passed an ordinance that mandated that these part-time law department employees pay double. So that expired at the end of 2013. Now our full-time employees are now paying 10%. So this ordinance, if we adopt it, calls for the part-time law department employees to pay 15% of the premium. The next ordinance, we recommended passage on emergency measure this evening, and that's 2014-7, establishing a moratorium on the acceptance and processing of applications for permits for businesses engaging in loans on vehicle titles. So basically, this would allow a 6-month moratorium where we would not accept any future applications until we could come up with some ordinance regulating them, similar to what we did with the payday lenders. And Mr. Enovich advised that they are, the administration is well underway with the budget process in preparation for our budget meetings. And many of you may have read the article in the paper about the prices of salt, and I don't know if you're going to address this, but I was just going to say something in general that we are looking into some options because, as was noted in the article in the paper, we do pay more than other communities do for salt right now. This is something that fluctuates. For many, many years, when we compared what we were paying through the consortium, it was actually less than what other communities were paying. However, an important component to this is, as part of our agreement, we are guaranteed delivery of salt within 24 hours. And this is something that other communities that are paying less do not have. So, for example, Parma Heights ran out of salt. We lent them some. There are a few other communities that we're aware of that have run out of salt. And that is one thing we don't want to do, and that's run out of salt. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Mrs. Pucci, do you want to continue with economic development?
Yes, I will. The Economic Development Committee met January 17th at 2 p.m. We discussed 2 residential properties that the city is interested in purchasing. We discussed the property on Idlewood that the city now has ownership. However, we were waiting for the deed. We had a representative from the county who was scheduled to assess the property on January 21st, and I did get an update on that today. They did come out, and basically the actual outside structure and the walls and electrical and things like that are actually in pretty good shape. So the land bank is going to contact Mrs. Miglerino, and they're going to figure out some contractor estimates on what it would cost. My suggestion when we started looking at this was that if it qualifies for the county land bank's veterans program, that I would like to see us do that with that. And that basically the land bank will renovate the property, and then they will assist a veteran in purchasing it. So we'll have a little bit more information once they prepare the contractor's estimate. I already mentioned the 2 pieces of legislation relating to Loving Cup Daycare. We talked about those. On our agenda was also a work session to finalize the template for the job creation retention template. Due to the length of the meeting, it was decided that Fran and I would get together and we would revise the template, which we will then present to the rest of the committee for approval. And when we do that, obviously, I will share that with council. We did discuss possible candidates for the business representative on the committee, which is now vacant. And I would just like to put it out there, we do have a vacancy on the Economic Development Committee. The person does not have to be a resident of the city of Brooklyn, but they do have to represent someone from the business community. And because this is a working community, we are really looking for someone that brings some area of expertise that will assist us. For example, someone, either in finance or certainly economic development, commercial realtor, something like that. So if there is anybody out there who thinks this might be a good fit for them and they're interested, they can either contact the mayor, myself, or Mrs. Miglerino. Our contact information is available on the website, which is www.brooklynohio.gov. I think that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Pucci. The Planning Commission is scheduled to meet Thursday, February 6th at 6 p.m. in the Brooklyn City Hall Conference Room at 7619 Memphis. We will hear a request from Acres Identity LLC to install an illuminated wall-mounted sign located at 4760 Ridge Road for business identification of Zounds Hearing. That's permanent parcel 433-07008. And we'll also hear a request from TDA Architecture for a 681,171 square foot new building construction of the middle school and elementary school located at 9200 Bidoff Road. That's permanent parcels 432-13001, 432-13002, 432-13005. Mr. Fitzgerald had sent out a notice to all of the residents around the school right now to come to the meeting because this is going to affect them the most. But all residents should come to this meeting if you're interested in seeing the school's plan. Again, that's February 6th at 6 p.m. in the Brooklyn City Hall Conference Room. Thank you. And we will move on to reports from council, and we will begin tonight with Tony DeMarco.
I have no report this evening.
Yeah, excuse me, Madam Chair. Due to the fact that the Planning Commission is regarding the schools, that meeting's going to be moved into the council chambers
Okay.
at 6 o'clock,
Okay.
Thursday the 6th.
In this chamber.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have a report from Ron Van Kirk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly, just wanted to once again thank all of our service workers and, of course, the police and fire. This has been a pretty tough winter so far this year, and I just want to thank them for their hard work. I also want to thank Mr. Enovich for the update on the budget meetings. Look forward to getting into those. If you look into the conference room, you see they've been hard at work in there. And also wanted to thank my fellow council members for the time we spent trying to decide who we're going to appoint to this position. And come tomorrow, we hope to have an appointee. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Kathy Pucci.
Thank you. I just want to report that the Marketing Steering Committee did meet last week, and we are moving forward with soliciting input from the different sectors of our community. So if you receive a letter from us, informing you and inviting you to a focus group, I would ask you to please seriously consider participating, because we don't want ideas just from the people that are up here. We want ideas from, our residential sector, our business sector, and all the other sectors in our community. So I hope that people will seriously consider giving a little bit of time as we move forward with this project. I just want to put my personal 2 cents in on the legislation regarding the moratorium on the car title lending legislation that we have on our agenda this evening, and that is these entities are predators, and they prey on the most vulnerable people in society. And just like we were able to put some restrictions on the payday lenders where we were able to limit them in our community, that is my intention with this moratorium that I proposed. Mr. Clausen is going to look up getting some legislation in place so we don't anticipate having to take full advantage of the 6 months. But we already have 2 in our community, and in my mind, that's too many. So, and once again, I would like to sincerely thank our safety forces and our service department employees. I see we have one of them here, Mr. Hennings. It's a thankless job when, when it's this cold, and they really do a terrific job, so thank you. That completes my report.
Thank you. Mary Belvier.
Yes, I have a couple friendly reminders. Brooklyn City Schools are going to be having their registration for kindergarten and preschool, and that'll be March 20th, 2014, 10 to 12 and 4 to 6. You can pick up the registration packets at the Board of Education, or you can download it from their website. But it's important that the packets must be completed, and they must have student records, such as the birth certificate, social security card, immunization records, and guardianship papers if applicable. You also have to have proof of residency. Another note is that we're so fortunate to have this wonderful Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce in our city, and they're going to be offering 3 scholarships, each in the amount of $1,000. The net proceeds will come from the annual Taste of Brooklyn, and I highly wish that the residents here in Brooklyn would support that. It's a wonderful event. You get a chance to see how wonderful the band is and the faculty. It's just a wonderful, wonderful evening. The scholarships, they'll be awarded to a graduating Brooklyn High School senior who resides in the city of Brooklyn and will be attending a recognized college or university in the fall. The second $1,000 scholarship will be awarded to a Rhodes High School graduating senior, also attending a recognized college or university in the fall. And the third scholarship will be available to any Brooklyn or Old Brooklyn resident who will be attending a recognized college or university in the fall. You can also get in touch with the chamber to find out more information on that. Another note, I had a wonderful opportunity during the holidays to experience our AMC in Brooklyn. It's just a fabulous evening there with the new seats and all the money that they put into our theater there. I highly recommend our residents supporting in our own city this wonderful AMC. Keep the money in Brooklyn. Don't go anywhere else. They have fabulous seats. They have a nice concession stand. The only drawback that I can see is you might miss the movie. It's so comfortable, as I did. So I highly recommend that. And then February 3rd, we have at the Senior Center, Coffee with the Mayor from 9 to 10. That's a wonderful opportunity to get to know our mayor a little bit better on a personal level, just, chit-chat. So, if you get a chance to do that, please stop by our Senior Center and have coffee with the mayor, February 3rd, 9 to 10. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mary. I'm going to add some specifics on Taste of Brooklyn and all that jazz. It's going to be Saturday, February 22nd at 7 p.m. at the Ridge Manor Party Center. The net proceeds, again, go towards the scholarship funds, and tickets are $20 per person, which include the food and entertainment. You can get tickets through the Chamber of Commerce. Contact Valerie Thompson at 216-288-5484, or you can get them at the Brooklyn High School. Also, I attended the school district council meeting last week. The school administration plans to actively reach out to residents for their input on many issues relating to the new construction for the school. If you want to see the plans, you could check them out at the school's website under the About the District tab. They also mentioned at the meeting that they were going to be uploading a virtual tour that they had at the board meeting, presented at the last school board meeting. So hopefully that will be up on their website soon and people can take a look at that. Again, like I said at the last meeting, the school and the city are really trying to work together on many things. And again, I'm going to point out in the audience, we have the new treasurer, Todd Hopkins, and we really hope to work with the schools. There are a lot of features about their new construction that we could share services with the city. So I'm hoping that works out. Next, we will move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you. I received a letter from Dominion Gas. They're going to be appearing in front of the Public Utilities Commission for an increase in the AMR cost recovery charge. That's for automatic meter reading. Right now, you have to pay 37 cents a month on your bill, and they're going to ask for an increase to 57 cents per month to recover their costs for this automatic meter reading. And I believe they're appearing in front of the commission in February. There's always a few things that bothers me with. I think in life, when you get a problem, if you don't know what to do, if you rely on your common sense, a lot of times that's the right answer. And I read this in the paper, and I've read it other places, that the Army Corps of Engineers is going to be dredging the Cuyahoga River, and they're applying to the EPA for a permit that they can take 180,000 cubic yards of this debris they're picking up from the bottom and dump it in Lake Erie. Now, to me, common sense tells you this doesn't sound right. I mean, if I went to the EPA and told them, can I use this this fill they're taking from the bottom of the Cuyahoga River and put it on our landfill to cover it, I know they would turn me down. So in other words, they're saying it's too dirty to put on a pile of garbage, but you can dump it in the lake where we have our drinking water. To me, this just sounds ridiculous. So if you're interested in sending a letter, at least for your opinion, you can write to the EPA, attention to Permits Processing Unit, and that's Post Office Box 1049, Columbus, Ohio. So, to me, that just sounds ridiculous. They'll be allowed to dump this by our water intake, but who knows what's going to happen. I can't see the EPA doing this, and I hope they don't. All of our union contracts were signed except the fireman's contract. They wanted to go to arbitration. So Thursday, they had the arbitrator here, and the meeting lasted all day long. I don't even think they broke for lunch. But we should hear their results in the next 2 weeks, and then all 5 union contracts will be done. On this Friday, when the University Hospital took over Parma Hospital the first of the year, they stated they were going to give a $50,000 wellness grant to each of the original cities that started the hospital, and that Brooklyn's one of them. So this Friday, they're going to have a meeting with me, well, not just me, but the other cities, and they're going to set the guidelines on how to apply for this $50,000 grant. So I have quite a few suggestions to make to them, so we'll see how that turns out, and then we'll see what we have to do to apply for it and see what happens. And that's all I have.
Mayor, do you want to announce the state of the city?
I'm going to do the State of the City address to the Chamber, and that's
13th.
the 13th of February at Westbrook Apartments. And then the following Friday, I'll be doing the State of the City address to the Democratic Club over here at the Senior Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Director Enovich from Finance.
Thank you, President Gallagher, members of council. My report will be rather brief since this is the beginning of the year and it's also the beginning of the month. As you know, we ended the year 2013 with a general fund balance of $8,768,555. As of today, the city has in the bank $21,679,498.62. The auditors have arrived. They've started the 2013 audit. They're also conducting the 2013 GAAP conversion, the fixed asset inventory, and preparation of the comprehensive annual report. Councilman Van Kirk, thank you for the shout out regarding the budget process. It did begin. The 2014 permanent budget, which will include requests for capital expenditures, will begin looking at 2015 as well. The meeting that the mayor had with his directors, which was to get the ball started on the budget process, was referred to by one of the directors as almost a revival type of setting, because we focused not merely on the numbers, but we looked at and we addressed what the city of Brooklyn really needs in the future. And we settled on our mission statement was to continue and continue to attract businesses and people to come to Brooklyn. And our focus is going to be on allocating the resources, both the services and the capital assets that the city has, to attract those. And it's a long road. It's a broad topic, but we're all thinking in the way of how do we best utilize the resources of the city to get more resources and to bring new families and new business residents to Brooklyn. So thank you, and I look forward to council's continued support in that process. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Enovich. Next, we'll hear from our Service Director, John Verba.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. I would just like to explain to the residents how currently things are done in regards to snow removal. In the past, many of the workers were allowed to work in excess of 24 hours straight while operating a vehicle. This was not good for the safety of the workers or our residents of Brooklyn. So back in 2012, we put in a policy that a worker can only work 12 hours at a time on the weekend, and on the weekdays, a 16-hour shift. During a storm of the magnitude that we had this past weekend, we ran two 12-hour shifts. 17 out of the 20 men we're in all weekend, 12 on, 12 off. With a limited staff, we cannot get to the side streets until all the mains are completed. Several times, we were on the side streets and had to be called off to go back onto the mains. That's why the side streets did not get the attention they deserve. And a reminder to all the seniors that are on the list to have their driveways done, we cannot proceed to the driveways until the mains and the side streets are done. Also, the intent of the program is to plow the driveway so that an emergency vehicle can have access to your driveway. Due to the extreme cold temperatures on Tuesday, our rubbish is going to be backed up one day. So if your rubbish is on Tuesday, it'll be Wednesday. Wednesday it'll be Thursday, and then Thursday it'll be Friday. Also like to wish my dad a happy birthday and my son Corey a happy birthday tomorrow. And that's all I have.
Next, we'll move on to legislation. First, we have ordinance 2013-76, repealing Section 1 of ordinance 2012-6, as amended, relating to the compensation for full-time and administrative employees in the non-bargaining. I need a motion to table.
Move to table.
Second.
To table, Katie Gallagher,
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Abstain.
Next, we have ordinance 2013-77, repealing Section 1 of ordinance 2012-22, relating to the compensation for the part-time position of Economic Development Director. Need a motion to table?
Move. Go ahead.
Move to table.
Second.
To table, Katie Gallagher,
Yes.
Tony DeMarco,
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 2014-2, amending ordinance 2004-32 as amended by ordinance 2007-1, 2010-1, 2011-5, 2012-2, and 2013-2, entitled An Ordinance to Establish and Adopt Rules of the Brooklyn City Council. As stated at the last meeting, there are 3 changes to council rules. First, the organizational meeting, adding the language or as soon as practical after. 1, adding the school board liaison. And lastly, adding a section for executive session as adopted by the Ohio budget under section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. And this is on second reading. Next is ordinance 2014-4, amending section 1 of ordinance 2011-67, adopted November 28, 2011, entitled Approving and Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Community Reinvestment Area Tax Agreement with Cleveland Tech Solutions, LLC, at an estimated cost of $350,000 to reflect a name change. And this will be on first reading. Ordinance 2014-5, amending Section 1 of Ordinance 2011-66, adopted November 28, 2011, entitled Authorizing the City of Brooklyn to Enter in a Job Creation Grant Agreement with Cleveland Tech Solutions, LLC, on behalf of Loving Cups Kids Academy of Brooklyn for the sole purpose of redeveloping the former Brooklyn Library properties into a child care center to reflect a name change and expansion at 4476 Ridge Road. Again, this will be on first reading. Ordinance 2014-6, health insurance coverage for the positions of part-time law director, prosecutor, and magistrate. First reading. And lastly, ordinance 2014-7, establishing a moratorium on the acceptance and processing of applications for permits for businesses engaging in loan on vehicle titles and declaring an emergency.
Introduced by all, suspend the rules.
Second.
To suspend the rules, Katie Gallagher,
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Yes.
To adopt, Katie Gallagher,
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes legislation. Does anyone on council or any other directors have anything they'd like to say?
I'd like to say something.
Good, Mayor.
John gave a nice report about the service department, but he takes a lot of abuse. So people call up screaming at him on the phone. They don't have their driveway done, their street done. This is the same group of men that have to pick up the garbage besides working the 12-hour shifts plowing the snow. I stopped up there on Saturday. In the little time I was there already, one of the trucks was calling, he's returning, he's overheating. We have 7 salt trucks, and I know 5 of them broke down not at the same time, but they can be repaired. The machines are running 24/7. The men are changing every 12 hours, but the machines are out there 24/7, and the cold weather's taking its toll on it. I just want the people to know they're doing an excellent job for the amount of men they have. They're not only doing the streets 24/7, like I said, they're picking up the rubbish. Besides, it's the same group of men. There's not a special group that's just assigned to this. They do both jobs all the time, and I think they do a fantastic job. And John doesn't deserve all the punishment he takes over the telephone. Thank you.
Mrs. Pucci,
You have you recognized? Thank you. 2 quick things. First, I want to thank Chief Zemek. I contacted him, and we're going to work together on having a day either in the spring or the summer where we have a CPR session for residents and employees. And also, I asked the chief to look into a new program. It's called Pulse Point. It's an app that you can get on your phone. So when an emergency call comes in for someone who would need CPR, there's a component to the dispatch system that would send something out to anyone that has that app on their phone who's in the area. So it gets the word out to people who are trained in CPR that there's someone near where they are that needs assistance. So the chief is going to look into that. I appreciate it. And Mayor, I just wanted a little clarification regarding the meeting for the $50,000 wellness grant. Is the purpose of the meeting for them to explain the guidelines, or is it for us to seek approval for programs?
The way I understand it, it's to set up the guidelines, what
Oh,
the
to set them
guidelines
up.
should be.
Okay.
And once we get that, then we can apply.
Okay.
So I don't know, I don't
So
really know.
they're seeking input on what the guidelines should be?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone else? Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
To adjourn, Katie Gallagher,
Yes.
Tony DeMarco,
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.